on, Mace.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Hicks from the Sticks podcast. Coming straight to you from beautiful Olds, Alberta, where the sun is shining, the drinks are flowing.
It's about to get really cold.
Yeah. We're about to be freezing our asses off here, but
Yeah.
that's almost February for you.
I mean, like, does it happen every February?
Yeah.
Does it happen? Like, it doesn't happen the same time every February, but it seems like past few years, January's been pretty mild. And then at some point in February, it is just like stupid cold.
Yeah.
I think it just happens.
But then also it's like in the back of your mind, you just got to put up with a little bit more because usually once March and April roll around, then it starts to warm up. So
You should get like one more snowstorm in April or March, and then after that, it's like done. You know what I mean?
Usually, yeah.
For the past few years,
Or we'll have like that. Yeah, you'll have solid weather for like 2 weeks, and then you get another snowstorm. You're like, come on,
come on,
come on. What are you doing?
Yeah, welcome to the Hicks from the Sticks podcast with your hosts Mason and Devin.
What episode number is this?
86.
86.
So 86. Hope you guys enjoyed episode 85 with White Glover, History Cows.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that yet, be sure to take a step back, go listen to that, or see it on our YouTube, of course, as well. So
also, I think for like future reference,
yeah,
like I think I need to like maybe cut back my drinking a little bit when we're doing interviews.
I think just overall you should probably cut back your
drinking. Yeah, just in general, but like for that interview when we were going back and listening to it, like I was slurring like all of my words, and like I was not talking very crisp. So
yeah. I'll say though, like the audio definitely wasn't the best, but shout out to Buzzsprout, link in the description. They helped out big time.
So probably a problem when we like the next day when we were thinking about the interview, I couldn't remember half the shit we talked about. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And we also, I think we already mentioned this as well, but we had to cut quite a lot of stuff out. So I don't know if you kept any of the bloopers, Dev, but
I did not, because those weren't even blooper worthy. They're just bad.
Oh, they were pretty funny. Some of them were funny, just maybe not the most appropriate.
Yes, exactly.
I'm still a firm believer. I know I haven't done it for a long time. I don't know.
What's that?
Well, I think we got to get stoned for one of these episodes, man.
See, I'm not a huge weed guy.
I know, neither am I, but I'm just saying, I think it's something we got to do at least once for the listeners, for the fans.
Mom and Dad, if you're hearing this, I don't do drugs, which I actually don't. So.
Mom and Dad, if you're listening to this, come get stoned with Dev and I.
Oh boy.
Just kidding. But I still think we should do that.
Maybe one day.
Should we go get some edibles?
No. I'm not. I don't know. I just don't do it, man.
Don't do it. What if I accidentally? Well, it wouldn't be an accident. What if I tricked you into eating an edible? Would you be mad?
Like probably after, yeah. I'd probably be like.
Okay. So what if?
Because here's the thing. All right. Before we get into like the whole episode.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
All right.
But I would be upset. Well, no, in the moment, I'd be fucking freaking out. I'd be having like, I don't know if you can get a bad trip on weed, but I'd be having a fucking bad trip.
I don't think you could have a bad trip. I mean, you could be anxious as hell, but I don't know if you can have a bad trip. But imagine how funny it would be if I just like didn't tell you. I gave you a candy. I was like, oh, hey, yo, Dev, you want a candy? You know, I usually don't have very many sweets, but let's just say, hypothetically,
you never have sweets. That's
hypothetically, one of these days I'll be like, oh, I was just craving some sweets. I don't have them that often, so I was craving them, and I was like, hey, Dev, you want one? And then you have one, and then I just don't say anything, and you're like sitting on the couch, and you're just like, what do you think? Like would be your first thought, or what do you think would be going on?
I'll be fucking freaking out because I'm like, I'm not used to feeling this way.
You'd feel a little loopy. You'd probably just think you were tired. That's probably all.
Well, that, or I'm gonna eat us out of the house, and we're going to have to go to groceries twice that week.
If we're watching Family Guy, you'd just be laughing the entire time.
Yeah, get a panic attack from all the laughing.
I kind of want to do that now.
No, we're not doing that.
Would it be Friends Off if I did that?
Be close to.
Yeah. You'd be that upset about that?
If y'all don't see a new episode podcast, it's because Mason got me high.
That's literally such a nothing burger, though.
Anyways,
just drug you.
just pin me down and drugs. Anyways, all right. Let's get into the actual podcast here. Let's start off though. Let's see what happened in this week's crop and cattle markets
All
in
right.
the province.
Let's hop in.
Welcome to this week's crop and cattle market update as of Friday, January 20th, with your hosts, Ian Mansbridge and Thad Thunder.
That's right, folks. Let's mix it up this week. How about that? How's that sound, Ian?
Sounds good.
Let's mix it up and start with the cattle update. Take it away, Ian.
Well, cattle markets continue to be strong, with prices staying high this past week. Steers were trading between $2 and $2.40 per pound for 700 to 900 weights, and $2.40 to $3 for 500 to 700 weights. Heifers were $2.10 to $2.50 per pound. For cattle futures, live cattle closed at $1.58. Sorry, $1.56 per pound, and feeders finished at $1.77 per pound.
Thank you, Ian. Hey, good time to be selling that beef, eh?
Oh yeah, for sure. How are the grain markets though this week?
Well, here, let me tell you. Let's start off with future markets and where different commodities finished trading at. For oilseeds, canola would end the week at $8.12 per metric ton, and soybeans would finish at $15.48 per bushel. For small grains, Chicago wheat ended the week at $7.41 per bushel. Minneapolis was at $9.12 per bushel, and Kansas was at $8.48 a bushel. Finally, corn, which makes the whiskey, finished trading at $6.76 per bushel.
Whiskey makes my baby feel a little frisky.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about you? Does it make you feel a little frisky?
I don't know. You have to see me drink whiskey.
I don't want to be around you when you're drinking whiskey.
All right. What happened to local elevators?
Well, anyways, local elevators didn't see much change with the feed wheat being at $3.52 per metric ton, and feed barley was at $3.73 per metric ton. Canola would be bought around the $8.78 per metric ton, and durum would fall a bit to $4.63 per metric ton. Finally, peas fell to $13.44 a bushel.
Thank you, Thad. Be sure to tune in next week, folks, to hear your crop and cattle market update. And that was this week's cattle and crop market update
Yes, sir.
with your hosts, Ian Mansbridge and Thad Thunder.
Yes.
So, Mason,
Okay.
if people were watching on the YouTube, they would see that you have the same tie. Actually, if anyone notices that we're wearing ties, they notice you wear the same tie every week. You know?
Same tie?
Tie.
Oh, I mean, this is only going to be the second week that we're doing it.
Yes,
So.
but it's gonna be the same one because I'm gonna have a
Okay.
different one. I have a repertoire of ties.
You have lots of ties?
About 6 or 7.
Holy shit. Why? Why do you have so many ties?
Because I used to be a city boy.
Ooh.
City boy. Anyways, well, it doesn't mean like country, like whatever rural folk don't have ties, but I've had to have ties. I used to wear ties. What do you want to describe this tie to people? Because I think it's a sick tie. It's better than all the ties I got.
So I don't currently have it on me right now, but I remember when I was in like my first year of college, or maybe it was my first year of college. For some reason, I was just looking on the Holstein Canada website.
Yeah.
And I was going through all their merch on there.
Nice.
I was like, man, this thing is fun. They got a lot of cool shit on here. So I ended up ordering this one long sleeve. I should actually wear that sometime soon. It says like Holstein Canada on it. It's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And then I got this one collared shirt that has like the Holstein Canada logo on it.
Yeah.
It's a little small for me now, so I don't really wear it much. It's kind of short on the arms anyway. So even if I dropped a couple pounds, I don't know if it'd fit that great. But then I also got this Holstein Canada tie, and I don't have it on me right now. But if I showed you it on the camera, it has like the Holstein Canada logo kind of towards the tip, and that's in red. And then throughout the rest of the tie, it has the Holstein Canada logo, but like in gray and black. So it's like very discreet.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
So shout out to Holstein Canada. And also, if you want to supply us with more merch, feel free, Holstein Canada.
Yeah, I won't turn any of that away.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither.
So yeah, I don't know why I bought that tie. I don't know if I've ever actually worn it to like a function before.
Like,
I should wear it to the office.
Yeah. But like, what's like appropriate function that you could like? Could you wear that to any function?
Dude, you can wear whatever. You can wear whatever you want, wherever you want, man.
You think so?
Yeah.
What if you're me and the Queen?
Yeah. Even better. How are you gonna
Okay.
meet the queen? Actually, Dev? Let me ask you that
No.
question.
Dude,
How do you plan
no.
on meeting the queen, Dev?
So you never know. You never know. That's why whenever I drink, whenever I have a brewski, wobbly pop,
You hope to meet the queen?
I always make sure I drink with my pinky up.
Yeah,
because you never
bullshit.
know when you're gonna have a brewski with the queen.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want it. She's probably lame when she was
Wow.
alive.
Yeah, shit, right. R.I.P. to the queen. So I guess no, not really the queen anymore, the king.
Yeah,
But I mean, like,
dude, she's probably a bad hang.
what does that mean?
She's just not a good hang.
No.
You know, like not fun to hang out with.
Well, I bet you she is. Probably has a bunch of cool stuff.
That doesn't mean she's a good hang.
She has nice horses. Have you seen her horses? They're nice.
Are they?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Nice black stallion.
See, the problem is the whole royal family. They live like their entire life within like that palace. They probably don't have any cool stories. When they're talking about what they did at the end.
They have multiple. They have multiple like houses and palaces and properties.
Yeah, but what do they do?
own a
It's not
shit
like they
ton over
work
there
or
on that
anything.
island. Huh?
It's not like they work or anything. Like, what do they even do during the day?
Well, they work. They're ambassadors of the royal family.
That is such horseshit.
Like, okay, I'll say this though. If you were born into the royal family, all right, this is a bit of a tangent, folks, but if you're born into the royal family, would you stay or would you go? Because you see it now, like with the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry thing, they left and then they're like absolutely like shitting on the royal. Well, they're not shitting on the royal family; they're exposing the royal family a bit.
Yeah, but they're also being shunned by like all of the UK now.
Yes, but they're loved by the US, which is interesting.
Which
but
is weird. It's kind of hard to answer. It's kind of hard to answer that when you didn't grow up in that situation.
Yeah, but like you have an idea.
I feel like I'd get bored.
I feel like I would just hate the fact that everything you do is so regulated.
Yeah,
I'm a free man.
Yeah.
I kind of like to do whatever I want, whenever I want, kind of ish. Unless my boss tells me to do something, I should probably do that. But you know what I mean? No, like I would just hate that. Like you can't just like go out to McDonald's and grab a McDouble. You know what I mean? Like,
do you think they like wouldn't let you even if you tried to sneak off?
well,
like you think they have people watching you 24/7?
Well, yeah, like you're like if you go out by yourself in the streets of London, you're probably getting fucking kidnapped or something.
You think so?
Yeah. You probably have 24/7, like 24/7 security.
Yeah, that would kind of suck.
And like, can you even eat McDonald's in the royal family?
Nah, I don't know.
Like Burger King,
they're too busy drinking baby's blood that they probably don't need McDonald's.
What the hell?
You never heard that conspiracy theory before?
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucked up conspiracy theories.
What?
Yeah, that's one of them. That the royal family drinks baby's blood.
You know what? I think that's a perfect cutaway and now into our interview.
Yeah, you think that's a perfect segue?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's stop talking about the royal family. You have a very special guest this week. My cousin, Brennan. Brennan Crooymans. He is a mechanical engineer for Bourgault.
Well, he's technically a biological engineer.
Well, that's what he took for schooling, but
so he's technically a biological.
He's an engineer/designer for Bourgault.
For Bourgault, did an internship at John Deere,
and
it was just interesting. It's interesting because it's a job that you don't hear about very often.
Well, I mean,
and it's very crucial to the ag world nowadays.
Oh, very crucial. I mean, we're always talking to people who are on the production side of things when it comes to actual farming, but we haven't really talked to people yet who actually, play a big role in the designing and on the actual
corporate ag side,
making the equipment that these guys are able to actually, go about their farming.
Yeah,
so it was pretty cool for that.
It's definitely mixed up. So I hope everyone enjoys.
Yeah, exactly. What do you figure? Should we hop in here?
Let's hop in.
Let's do it.
All right, we're going, Mace.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another interview here in the Hicks from the Sticks podcast. Today, our very special guest for today. Ooh,
or you want to say Gator?
Yeah, no.
Are we with Crocodile Dundee right now, or what?
But, a very special guest for today. I'm reaching out into the family tree and grabbing another one. So
getting desperate.
Brennan. We got Brennan Crooymans on here. How are you doing today, Brennan?
I'm doing good.
Right on.
How many family podcasts has that been on this one? On your side?
Well, we we've done my dad.
Catherine,
We did Catherine.
and now Brennan.
Now Brennan.
So 3.
I tried to get Casper as well, but he's being too much of a bitch.
Is he?
Yeah, cut the Casper. I'll keep trying to hound him down, but yeah, no. Do you want to give a little bit of kind of your backstory there, Brennan? For the folks out there that wouldn't know.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up in Bow Island, Alberta. Not really anything to speak of much in Bow Island other than formerly the Spitz plant.
Yeah.
Seems like everybody knows about them. And so yeah, I grew up on a grain farm down there. Seed farm, I guess, pedigreed seed farm. So a lot of cereals is what they would sell on the farm, but would also grow seed canola for some of the seed companies around that area, and edible beans. They dabbled in sugar beets, but that was before my time. And flax, peas. That kind of covers about most of the crops that were on the farm. I grew up with a little bit of animal exposure too. I was in 4-H for 7 or 8 years, beef club. Yeah, it's kind of the home story. And then after I graduated from high school, I went to Saskatoon for engineering at the U of S and graduated there and got a job at Bourgault after the fact. It's kind of my life story in a nutshell.
Awesome.
You guys also always had ponies at the old.
Yeah, miniature ponies.
You're a big
And you
horse
can
guy,
bet your ass that a few drunk friends would try and ride them.
Yeah, you're a classic cowboy, right?
Oh yes, classic. Yeah.
Well, actually, I had a question too, because I know my dad used to work on it. I know a lot of your siblings have as well. But did you also work on the Spitz factory there?
Like everybody from Bow Island, all worked at Spitz at one point in their life. Yeah.
So what was your favorite flavor then?
Oh, I'm a dill pickle fan.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong there. What was the
Nope.
craziest flavor though too? Because they would sometimes have ones there that they don't sell up here and they ship all down to the States, right?
Yeah, I was only there for a short stint, but I can remember Tom Droog, him and his wife were the original owners of Spitz, and they would always be coming by the farm with different flavors. And I don't have a whole lot of memory of the different flavors, but there was one thing that they brought over. They brought over these chocolate coated. It was almost like a Smarties version or an M&M version of Spitz. They were really damn good, and I can't believe they never came out with them.
I think we did have them because it doesn't have the shell on it, right? And it's just dipped in chocolate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they sell those at gas stations.
Well, shit. I have to pay closer attention next time.
Yeah, really big sweet guy over here. Really big into the sweet.
Awesome. Where do we want to go with this, Mace? Actually, I have a question here. Speaking of the farm, what was Mason used more vulgar terms. What was the biggest mess up you've ever had on the farm?
Yeah, I'm sure you guys had some fuck ups there. So
Yeah.
Oh boy. Do I dare say any of them?
I don't know.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be like your mess up, but it could be like one of your siblings or anything like that.
What did Morgan do?
What's Morgan too? Okay, actually, you know what? On my brother's end, this was one. you could call it something like a fuck up, sure. So, anyways, we had a Honda 4-Trax. It was like a late 1980s model. It was a 250. I think everybody and their dog had one of them quads. If it wasn't one of them, it was a trike back in the day. Anyway,
Drake.
yeah. And anyway, so we had the 4-Trax, and my brother was riding around on the yard, and I can't remember how this all transpired, but the shop that we had on the yard at the time had the natural gas line coming in from the side of the building, and it actually came up out of the ground about maybe a couple feet away from the side of the building. And my brother was riding the quad around and was looking behind and not paying attention to what was going on forward, and he hit that natural gas line with the quad. Very luckily, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, that was
bad.
that could have been terrible.
Yeah.
it could have been awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you still go back home to help out with harvest? Or are you kind of all done with the farming side of
Is the
things?
family farm still going?
Yeah, still going. I have gone back, but kind of decided to stick with the engineering thing. Yeah, my wife and I actually moved to the farm. That was almost 2 years ago now, year and a half ago, to try out farming for a season. We love the farming side of things, but we moved back for personal reasons.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So
Fair enough.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
but no, I do have a few more stories if you guys got time on the.
Yes,
Yes.
of course.
Tell us
Yes,
one or two
yes.
more.
Okay, so I guess this one's kind of related to me. I'll poke some jabs at others as well. I'm not going to say any names, but on on my end of things, my sister and I, when we were little kids, we had a Quonset on our yard. The first yard that I lived on, we had the Quonset that my dad would store a lot of the farming equipment that we didn't really use over winter, which included some grain trucks when we weren't hauling. And we loved to go in there and play around. And we would always turn on the signal lights and turn the key on and pretend we were driving the trucks. And I can still remember my dad coming in the house just PO'd because the batteries were dead on all the trucks that were supposed to haul grain and couldn't get any of them out of the shop. And you know, there's other things on the farm too, like throwing stuff over the fuel gauge. You know, the older trucks, you could throw stuff up on the dash and stuff, and you cover the fuel gauge. And of course, you never bother to check fuel on farm trucks when you're driving around, so you always run out of fuel somewhere. Either that, or the gauge just doesn't work, like most things on farm trucks.
Oh yeah.
What was the farthest away from the farm that you got, and then all of a sudden went putt, 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 and then just shut off?
So this one wasn't on my farm, but I was at a buddy's farm, and he had this old Ford he loved to go ripping around in. We didn't have our driver's license at the time, but he lived out in the sticks and didn't really care. Anyways, we ended up at a gravel pit, and he figured, you know what, I'm going to climb that gravel pile with my truck. Well, he stalled his truck, and we could not get it fired up. And this was like, we didn't have cell phones back then, or not. Yeah, anyway, the cell phones were around, but
Did you have to break out the old pigeon?
what's that?
Did you have to break out the old pigeon?
We should have. No, we were dumber. We just walked 8 miles.
How many?
8 miles.
Oh geez.
Oh boy.
Yeah, his mom was terrified when we got back because she didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
We were gone for hours.
Oh shit. 8 hours walking. That'd probably take at least what 2-3 hours.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. I can't remember, but I just remember she was pissed when we got back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. I have one more Bow Island related question for all of our
Sure.
listeners down in that area. Are slush creams the shit?
More than you know.
I always remember, I don't know if there's any truth to this or not, but I always remember my dad saying that that's where it originated, was in Huck Finn's there. That's what it's called, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I remember when we were in like high school, all like the Macs and all the convenience stores would sell like the ice cream dispenser. So I don't know if Huck Finn's was the first place or not, but Devin, do you know what slush creams are?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. There's
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember what's it called? There's whenever I was down there working, recently, the recent job I was at, we always, I forget what it's called, but there's a bakery in Bow Island we always used to stop at. If we ever went out that far east, I forget what it's called.
Well, the bakery's been named different things, but the Rolling Pin Bakery was mostly what it was remembered as. And you might be remembering the Bow Islander. Maybe not.
Wait, what? Sorry.
The bakery had this thing. It was called a Bow Islander, and it was basically Long John. I'm assuming you guys know what those are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was a Long John with maple glaze on top, but then the dough part of it had raisins in it. That was the big claim to fame.
Yeah.
So nothing too crazy.
Ruined it.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Bow Island's not known for many things.
Well,
Certainly
it's got
not
Pinto
their,
the Bean and also Jimmy's Drive-In. So you
I
guys
was
got a
just-
couple things.
Yeah, Pinto McBean. Yeah. You believe it? Someone stole that gun off that mascot when I was in high school.
Really?
Wait, is that a real gun?
Yeah, and for any of the listeners who don't know anything about Pinto McBean, so Bow Island is known as the bean capital, like agricultural dry bean capital of Alberta for whatever reason. Maybe they are, I don't know, but they're a pretty small town. Anyway, they've got this massive pinto bean for a mascot. Like, how tall would he be? 15, 20 feet? Something like that?
He's big.
He's big.
Yeah.
But he's got a 10-gallon cowboy hat on top of him, and he's got a 6-shooter on his side for whatever reason. We're the Wild West of pinto beans, but
So,
But
like,
somebody
is that
stole that
actually,
gun.
like, so that gun's real, or is that a fake gun?
well, like it's a fake, but it's the size of someone's truck box.
But you like, but the question is though, is like, I'm just curious, like, shouldn't this like gun be like connected to the statue somehow?
I don't know
so-
how they got it off. I have no idea. I just remember it was missing, and they found it in someone's backyard.
Yeah, that's not
Nice.
surprising.
Nice. All right. Just one kind of like last question about this before we get in the meat and potatoes. Favorite tractor brand, color? Because I know you worked at John Deere.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll get into
Setting that aside, back at the farm, what was the
yeah.
color?
Don't worry about that.
And then that out in the background.
Yeah, no. Well, so I was born and raised green. That was all I ever knew. Every toy I ever played with, every pedal tractor, every tractor I ever rode in, it was all green, green, green. So that was kind of all I knew, and that was what I loved. But after getting out there and seeing the other brands, I still have a soft spot for the green tractors, but I'm a little less biased these days. I like
Fair
and dislike
enough.
things about every brand.
Fair enough. Awesome. All right, Mason. Should we ask about university here quick?
Yeah. So you went to university in Saskatoon there. And we kind of talked about it before, but what was your actual degree?
So I graduated with a degree out of the engineering college. My title is a biological engineer, but I don't really call myself that. I call myself an ag engineer, and I'm basically a specialized mechanical engineer. So I design machinery for the ag sector, I guess.
Why would it fall under the biological umbrella?
Because of low enrollment in the program, and they tried changing the name of the program to entice more people to enroll, and it was effective, but a lot of people thought they were going into like biomedical engineering or biological, as you might think, genetics type thing, but that's not at all what it was. It was strictly just ag machinery design.
Man, there's always some people that were pissed.
The year after I went into the program, I remember there was like 20 people that enrolled in the program, and my class there was like six or seven, and out of the 20 only like 5 stuck around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this isn't what I wanted to take. Whoops.
Yeah.
Any chance I can get a refund on that tuition?
Well, they were all probably excited to work with like living stuff, and then they realized they're working with metal and plastic. So
Yeah, like there was a bioprocessing side of it, so like how you handle potatoes in a factory, that kind of thing. But yeah, it wasn't what they were expecting.
does that program is it still around or not really?
No, I was the last year to graduate from it actually. So they still have it around in a form, I guess. So through the mechanical engineering discipline, you can specialize in ag machinery design, which basically you just take a couple ag classes to get familiar with ag equipment, and voila, you're an ag engineer.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. It's awesome.
We were just talking about your roots there in Bow Island. What was your first impression of moving to the big city when you went to university?
Hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and not just because the fact it was a big city, but I didn't really know anybody. I knew one guy from high school when I came up here, so it was a whole new experience. And it was the first month or two was pretty tough, but after you met some friends and got drunk a few times, then things settled in.
So then were you an agro? Is that where you met all your buddies at?
No, I was a mix of the both actually. So the guy I knew going there, he went into ag and I went into engineering. And as it all turned out, we ended up having similar friend group. And so I hung out with agros and engineers, which is not very common. The U of S is well known for having a big rivalry between the engineers and the agros.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Why do they think that you guys are just all a bunch of nerds or?
Basically, my dad tells me, so my dad went to the U of S and he tells me stories of back in the day. I don't know if he would partook in any of it, but he said it was kind of phasing. But anyways, it wasn't uncommon for agros to hide behind like trees and stuff and go after engineers and pants them back in the day.
What were they all in like grade 3?
The shenanigans were pretty crazy back in the day. Actually, I was reading up a little bit on it today. I was just reminiscing a little bit, I guess, if you want to call it that. I wasn't involved in some of these pranks, and the pranks I was involved in. So when I say pranks, it was the engineers going to the agros lounge when I was in school and doing some stupid shit to their room, like filling it with newspapers or something like that, or post-it notes. But back in the day, It was a real rivalry. And even so, like in the late 90s, I don't know when it all started, but beginning of the school year, the engineers would kidnap the Ag Student Society president and force feed them liquor until they were like absolutely wasted, like barely awake kind of thing. But they would carry them out to they called it E-Plant Hill. I don't know where it was on campus exactly, but they would carry him out duct taped to an E cross, and they called it a crucifixion. It sounds morbid. So the engineers would all paint themselves like body paint red, and the agros were blue. That was the colors of the colleges, and they would all meet at this E-Plant Hill, and it was an all-out fight and brawl over the president.
What?
Serious. I never, like, this was before my time, but I hear, there were stories of it, and it has to be true. I've heard it from so many people that it's got to be true. But
Like,
there
this was
still
an
is
annual thing that they did.
that they used to do, yeah. And like they would pull pranks on each other, the two colleges, all year round. Some of the stories that I heard, so the agros, I don't know what the engineers did, but in retaliation, the agros. So when you walk into a school building or building period, I guess, you usually walk through two doors, right? There's that little entrance. They usually got the heater going on in there if you walk in the wintertime to warm things up kind of thing.
Yep.
Anyways, the agros filled that space top to bottom, bottom to top with manure.
That'd be terrible.
Another prank the agros pulled on the engineers, and it's funny, I mostly have the agro stories because they're kind of the funniest, but
Yeah.
they disassembled an auger and reassembled it inside of the engineering building. But not only did they do that, they welded all the joints and ground off all the bolt heads and nuts so you couldn't take it apart. They had to grind the whole thing apart.
Jeez.
Oh man.
Did they ever, like, was this before your time or
Yeah, that was before my time. Like I said, we didn't do anything nearly that crazy. We would, like I said, we'd crumple up newspapers and fill up their lounge like half full with these newspapers. But I mean,
because if you did that and you got caught where you like pretty much just fucked up an auger, like the repercussions of that would probably have to be insane, eh?
I'm surprised you just didn't keep it as like a statue, but I guess it's a humiliation thing. So would they want that there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably not. What was the most, like, I guess you'd call it, rank prank that you ever saw? And like, what would you partake in? Because you said you were like the middleman.
Yeah, so I didn't really partake in many. I did right off the bat because I didn't, like, I was just starting out and I didn't really have a group of friends yet. But once we all kind of became friends, we didn't really. Yeah, I don't know. We would we'd get into tassels like agros versus engineers every once in a while. You know, you get drunk outside the bar and get stupid, whatever. But we never really partook in many of the things that went on in between the two colleges, but just heard stories and stuff.
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah. Awesome. And then finally, you said just there there's some drinking that happens at college. More than others, right? Do you have any good drinking stories? Like, wow.
Yeah. Good drinking stories.
Non-incriminating drinking stories.
Okay. Well, I don't know which ones I should say. I got one. This was my first year, and this is actually the group of guys that I still am friends with. And we went to a Halloween party in the city, and we were all underage because Saskatchewan's 19 years of age is legal.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So anyways, we were underage drinking there. And anyway, time to go home for the night, and our DD for the night. When we got there, he had parked. So it was a townhouse complex, and none of us knew anything. We're all farm kids. We know next to nothing about the city. We pull in. There's a parking spot in front of this townhouse. When we got there, we're like, oh, sweet, parking. And didn't realize, in a townhouse complex, it's all designated parking. So anyways, when we went to go leave, whoever's parking spot it was, they were pissed, right? And their parking spot wasn't there. Someone had parked there, and they had parked behind us, blocking us in. We're like, oh shit, how are we gonna get out of here? We figured, you know what? We got enough guys. We had like 5 guys. We figured we could lift the car up. Well, we couldn't lift the car up, but it just happened to be icy enough that we could lift it up and slide it at the same time and actually get the car enough out of the way. But we figured we should retaliate a little bit, which is kind of a bad move on our part. But anyways, we decided we were going to tow the car. Buddy had a tow strap in his truck, and we were going to tow this car. And we hooked up to it, and we pulled it kind of like through the townhouse complex, but just enough away from the townhouse that it was parked at, that they, when they opened up the door in the morning, it's like, dude, where's my car?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so
That's awesome.
so the one buddy, he thought it, like, we all thought it was hilarious. So the one buddy took a picture and he posted it on Facebook because it was kind of funny. And then the next day, come to find out through the grapevine that it was actually one of the football players from the university that owned that car. And like, this had made it through, like, it was like a friend of a friend that had told us about this, and they're like, you got to take this down right now, because if they find out about it. So yeah,
Oh boy.
immediately off of Facebook.
Oh boy.
Then it wouldn't just be, then the engineers would not only have the agros that they have beef with, but also the athletes, eh?
Right.
Yeah,
Yikes.
rivalries. Yeah. What were you dressed as that night?
Red, green.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a classic one.
You bet.
You can't go wrong with that. All right, perfect. What do you figure, Dev? Should we hop into the engineering kind of stuff here?
Yeah, so you come out of university with your biological engineering degree that doesn't have anything to do with plants or anything like that. I still find that kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then where'd you end up after that? And like, did you do any like engineering summer jobs in between, or were you just back at the farm?
No, I did do an internship with John Deere actually after my third year of university. So it was just an 8-month internship. I was part of their harvesting engineering group, and more specifically a part of the testing group. So I didn't do any design work; it was just testing, and was a part of a testing crew that would kind of take it was like the second step in the prototyping phase, and they'd actually prototype a combine, take it out to the field, and they test it out there. And so they'd go to a number of different test sites. I went from Tennessee to Texas to Idaho to Illinois, Iowa, up to like Grand Prairie area and Melfort area and Saskatchewan.
So you've been all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
What was like, so from all that traveling, what was like the number one like stop you could either buy it because of the food, because of the experience?
I would go back to Tennessee in a
good in that
heartbeat.
area.
I'd go back to Tennessee in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that?
It was just a place like no other I'd been before. It's nothing like the prairies. Like, it seems like you could just go out with a bag of seed, spread it in the ground, and you'd have an awesome crop. Like, it was just phenomenal what them guys could do down there, and the scenery, like, it was crazy. The people are pretty interesting, we'll say. So, and to go with that, the Southern drawl. So, I'd never been down there, and you hear about the Southern drawl, but you always think of Texas,
Yeah,
y'all and stuff like that. And man, the Southern drawl is a whole nother language on its own. I couldn't understand half the people I talked to in Tennessee. It was crazy. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like a whole nother language.
So sorry to interrupt there, Mace, but when you're going out and doing all these tests, so you're in obviously Tennessee, like, are you like harvesting wheat and stuff like that when you're down there doing those tests, or like, are you doing the crops based on the region and like the majority, like whatever major crops that they're planting down there? I guess, man, I can't talk today.
Yeah, a little bit based on region. So Tennessee was wheat at the time, but they obviously grow a lot of corn and stuff down there too. And Texas was also wheat, but again, lots of corn down there. Up in Canada was wheat, and canola was kind of the big one up here. And then Illinois, Iowa was corn.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But you got to play around with all the new toys, eh?
Well, yeah, it was totally different style of farming. So they're trying to evaluate the performance, and so it was a lot of you'd do a short run of combining, and you'd analyze everything, you'd weigh how much grain was in the combine, and then on that run they would also collect everything coming out of the back of the combine to figure out how much grain you're losing out the back, how much material is actually going through. Like, it wasn't very efficient farming, we'll say. But so yeah, in a sense, I guess, got to play with some new toys, but it was kind of cool. They would these were prototype combines, but they would badge them as older combines to kind of hide them. make them look like they weren't a prototype. It was kind of cool. They were, combines that looked like they were 10 years old, but they were actually a future combine.
That's actually cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to ask. So, like, how do you like hide it? Like you see, like for example, the X9 that came out about 3 years ago. You're like, how could you hide an X9 in a field without anybody noticing?
Yeah, no, I don't think they were hiding that one. I'm
Yeah.
sure if there was a prototype of that one out there, it was obvious.
Yeah, it was on full display.
I mean, probably their best option was just to paint it black and pan it off as an ideal, probably.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, paint it black or red or yellow or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. At this time, what, if you can talk about it, what were some prototypes that you guys were looking at, and are they actually combines that are in production now today?
Yeah, so that was kind of the cool thing. So one of the prototypes I got to work with was what ended up being the S700 series. So when I was on my internship, that was in 2013, and John Deere had only been out with the S series combine for like a year or two, so it was pretty new, and they were already working on the next generation of it with the focus on small grains, particularly the Canadian market. And so yeah, it was cool to see all the things that I worked on at that time are now available and on the market. Kind of cool to say I didn't do any of the design, but I got to test some of it before it was released.
Yeah. Did you have to dabble in any of the autonomous equipment as well, or did you kind of stay away from that?
No, I didn't. I wasn't involved in any of that. I didn't see any of it either, but yeah, no, they had other prototype stuff, and I'm not going to dive into any of it because it was pretty confidential.
I was going to say, did you have to sign what are those called? A non-disclosure, an NDA?
Yeah, that's right, an NDA. Yep. Yeah, with every company I work for, they make you sign an NDA.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's probably smart.
I guess to an extent, of course, answering this question, what were some of the technologies on these prototypes that were maybe new to the market? Maybe they're not new in today's term, but maybe back then that you were working on.
Yeah, so I guess maybe to your point on autonomous stuff. So back then, John Deere was working on a system that would automatically be able to make combine adjustments on the fly without the operator having to do anything. And that software is available now. I don't know what they call it, but they use cameras that monitor the grain quality, and as well as other sensors for monitoring the throughput through the combine and stuff. And it can make changes on its own. If the grain's not threshing properly, it'll adjust things in the combine to thresh it better, which is cool. I'm still not a firm believer in it. It's one of those things that I feel like you need to be an operator and see it happening in order to make an adjustment. But it's cool that they're working on it for sure.
Awesome. And then it was just combines you were able to work on at the time.
That's right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. You have any more question about John Deere?
Did they ever make you test any of the gators?
We had gators at all the test sites.
Awesome. Oh, I guess I got a question. So like that, because you're testing obviously what comes in and what comes out. How do you like catch everything that's coming out? Is there like a big big bag on the back, or like how does that work?
A big trailer.
Oh.
So it was basically a belt conveyor on a trailer. They had two of them. So a combine's got the threshing, and then they've got the cleaning part of the combine. So it would collect from both of those, but keep them separate. So it had the two belt conveyors. I can't remember how long it was. It was like 60 feet, 50 feet long, something like that. But yeah, it would just trailer behind the combine. And as the combine would drive forward, the belts would move with the speed of the combine to help collect everything off the back. And then they had another combine that would come up behind that, and they called it a shaker. And it was basically a special combine for cleaning any of the grain that might be left over from the first combine. Anyways, yeah, it was used for figuring out what kind of losses there were. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So obviously, and then also you have the combine. Like you have the combine component. Were you also working on any like brand new header technology? Like I don't know if flex drapers were around back then. Like was that something also that was coming up the pipeline?
Flex drapers were definitely a thing back then. There was a different team that worked on it. They had a header team at John Deere, and I wasn't a part of that team. I was strictly just the combine. Yeah.
They got a team for every component pretty much.
Yeah, it's crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like their combine, like their engineering division building for their combine, like it was crazy. John Deere is so big compared to anything I'm familiar with around here.
So I guess I got this question then. Since there's so many different teams for each kind of equipment, whatever you want to call it, type, if you couldn't be on the combine team, which makes it sound like a football team, but if you couldn't be on the combine team, what other piece of equipment at John Deere would you like to work on?
Well, with my farming passion, I like the agronomy side of things too. So if it wasn't combines, it'd have to be something that dealt directly with like ground engaging or harvesting or spraying, something like that. I don't know that I'd necessarily want to work on tractors. I think I'd rather do like seeders or sprayers or harvesters, anything in that realm.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads perfectly into our next segment.
Wait, actually, I have one more question.
Oh,
first.
JK,
yeah,
not
sorry,
yet.
sorry, not quite. Hold your horses there, Dev. So that was how long was that internship for?
8 months.
8 months. Did they have like opportunity for you to scale up within that team or that within John Deere itself, or was it kind of like, oh, you did your 8 months now fuck off?
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the contract. And I still had to finish my engineering degree was a thing. I'd only finished 3 years of my degree up until that point. I still had another year and a half left.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, if things all worked out with the company you did your internship with, there's a very good chance they'd offer you a job. And I'm trying to remember now. I think John Deere might have offered me a job, but I really liked my internship, but it was a lot of traveling and a lot of living out of a suitcase. And as a single guy, it wasn't so bad, but I wouldn't do it now.
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't something that I saw myself continuing to do. Not saying there wouldn't be other opportunities, but I kind of wanted to stick closer to home too.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Because what office was that technically would that be based out of in a sense?
So that engineering group, and where I was actually based out of Regina, but John Deere doesn't have an engineering, it's just a distribution warehouse. But because I was Canadian and they couldn't get me a visa for the States because it was such a short term, I actually was based out of Regina. So I'd come up to Canada, do a little bit of reporting work and stuff, and then I'd go back down to the States for 2 weeks, come back for a bit, and then go back down. So I did a lot of flying during all this too. But anyways, while I was down there, to answer your question, their engineering headquarters was actually in Illinois. Like John Deere advertises everything as Moline, Illinois, but Moline's actually just one city. They call them the Quad Cities. I can't remember what cities there all are. There's Bettendorf. I can't remember all of them, but anyways, it's right on the Illinois-Iowa border. There's a river that kind of goes through the 4 cities, but Moline is one of them. And then this headquarters was just outside of the cities.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Can I lead into the next little section there?
Yeah,
Liz?
you can go for it.
All right, sweet. So obviously you said before you wanted to work more like in the like cedar sprayer, stuff like that. So what are you doing now then? Does that relate to that?
Yeah, sure does. Yeah, so I after I graduated
already, Dad.
What's that?
Yeah, it's all like I have the sheet up right in front of you, but who knows? The people that are listening don't know. So
yeah, so anyways, I graduated university, and I actually didn't really know what I was going to do after the fact. I had applied at a couple companies, and just the opportunity didn't seem to be there. Anyway. And so I had full intentions on going back to the farm, and but I had a buddy that was working at Bourgault at the time, and he's like, "Oh, you should just send your resume in." He's like, "We don't have a job posting, but just send your resume. I'll put in a good word for you." And so I dropped my resume off and had a chat with his supervisor for a while, and things must have went well enough. They offered me an interview and went for an interview and offered me a job shortly after, and took a job at Bourgault, and I've been there for 7.5 years now.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Let's get into that then a bit. What's your official title at Bourgault?
What goes on the business card?
Design engineer is what goes on the business card.
Yeah. And then are you doing like are you taking like, because obviously like an air seat, like that's what mostly what Bourgault does is air seaters, correct? Or
that's the bulk of it. Yeah. They do some other stuff, but everybody knows them for their air drills. Yeah.
Yeah. They're massive air drills. think
Yeah.
the biggest one's 100 feet at the moment, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Massive. I see it on YouTube and I'm like, holy shit, that's big. Anyways, all right. I'll stop fanboying over how big fancy equipment. But so what like what's your kind of like you're a design engineer, but are you like taking like nothing and building something, or are you designing improvements on the machines? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of all of that within the company. So the team that I'm a part of is called the new product development team. So we work a lot on the prototype from the ground up kind of thing. And yeah, a lot of it is farmer problems that come to us and figuring out a solution to their problems kind of thing.
So you're so more you keep the base idea of what an air seeder is, and you're just adding like new adjustments, say changing the boots or something like that, or like the way air flows. I don't know. They're so complicated too nowadays. So
yeah, no, for sure, it's changed a lot from the old box drills to what they're doing these days. But yeah, I mean, we're obviously adding technology, trying to make things more efficient, and like to go with productivity is making things bigger too. And it's not just as simple as slapping steel together and welding it. I mean, there's a lot of design work that goes behind just making something bigger. But yeah, I feel like a lot of seeding equipment, maybe particularly on the market, we've kind of reached the size that we can with tractors that are on the market. If we had unlimited hydraulics and unlimited power and traction, we'd probably build wider drills than 100 feet. But that's kind of the limitation we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. So I guess that my question with that then is companies like Bourgault working with like tractor companies like the Case and the New Holland, the John Deere to improve their equipment so that then you can follow suit type of thing? Or is that not, there's no collaboration with that?
In ways there is. There's a little bit of back and forth, but I'm not entirely sure how much communication there is. Or yeah, I mean, John Deere sells air seeders too, right? They want to get some of that piece of the pie too.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a fair point. Fair point. Awesome. All right. What are like some technologies that you have worked on in the past that are now out there? Obviously, you can't talk about what you're doing right now, or else it's a big no-no. But like, what are some stuff maybe you worked on in the beginning that's now out there, and kind of the developments of a Bourgault air seeder over the years?
Sure. So yeah, there was a lot kind of leading up to when I joined the company. Bourgault. So air seeding kind of came about in the 80s. I can't really speak too much on where it all came about, but I mean, guys were looking for efficiencies back then, and one of the big downfalls to the box drills back then was trash flow. Lots of guys were kind of going into no-till, minimum till farming, getting away from that conservative, that tillage. And they needed a machine that could handle going through stubble and not plug up. And cultivators were generally really good for cultivating the ground and not plugging up. So I don't know this for sure, but I feel like that's kind of where the two merged. They saw the benefit with cultivators. You didn't get that plugging in minimum till conditions, but you didn't have the seeding capability with it. So I'm not sure where it all came about exactly, but from there things have more or less just kind of scaled up, and adding a whole bunch of technology to it. The original cultivators, it was all just a single adjustment for the entire machine. So your depth control wasn't very good. You didn't have independent depth control was the thing. And so kind of leading up to the mid 2000s, Bourgault development came out with, I think in 2007 or 2008, an independent hoe drill. So every opener has its own ability to gauge depth, all hydraulically controlled. You set the depth on each opener, and that was kind of a pain in the butt. Guys are like, well, you're talking about, and they didn't have a 100-foot wide drill back then, but let's just, you got to go to like 50 or more openers and crawl through the drill to adjust depth on everything. Like, what a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Right. I'm assuming that one didn't last very long, did it?
So yeah, the next step there, and this is just an example of one technology that advanced. So Bourgault came out with quick depth adjust. So they added hydraulic cylinders on the transport wheels. And so rather than going around to every single opener on the drill, now you just have to go around all your transport wheels. So like up to, I don't know what that would be, 10 or 12 different locations on the drill to change depth. You didn't have to crawl under anything. You could stand up while you were doing it. It was much easier to do. And we've got to the point now. Bourgault came out with a technology a couple of years ago called AccuSet, where it's now a smart cylinder. They call it. It's a hydraulic cylinder that has electronic capability where it can sense the how far extended or retracted the cylinder is. So you can adjust your depth on the fly. You could be in the cab and adjust your depth, not have to step out of the machine to change anything.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome.
No, that's pretty sweet.
Have any, like, even the small things have changed over the years too? Like even the way that the points are on the I don't even know. Trying to use the correct terminology, but like the points in the bottom of the boots and stuff like that, and even the way product flows through type of thing. Has that changed at all?
Yeah, for sure. The way they deliver is, the basic concept is still there. They're using air to deliver from a meter to each one of the openers, but the way they're controlling that, I guess, has changed a fair bit. So back in the day, when you got to the headland, you'd shut off the entire drill width. But now we're at the point where we've got GPS and everything, and with the added electronics, you can shut off per section. So rather than, let's say you're farming a piece of land and you're coming up to an angled piece that you've already seeded. You've got that pie piece, right? So if you were seeding across the entire drill width, you'd be overlapping on over half your drill, right? And by the time you get to that very last piece of the pie, you've got, over half your drill is seeding into already seeded ground. So with sectional control, it's adjusting the metering or the distribution so that it can shut sections off so you're not overseeding, saving on product. And there's even some manufacturers out there now that when you get into that seeded ground, they'll lift the openers up out of the ground too, so you're not disturbing any already seeded ground.
So they coming out with like sectional, like, so say you do come to that corner, section 1 will lift up, then 2, then 3, then 4 type of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. I guess, like, we talked about a few different technologies, and the one question I have on here, well, maybe it's on here, it's in the head, is that how much technology is too much where it gets to the point where the farmer can't make adjustments anymore? Because I know back with John Deere, in case there's the argument out, say, on ag Twitter, on the news, that there's too much computer and that farmers can't make their own like fixes or anything like that. Is there, like, what's your opinion on that type of thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Bourgault is at that point yet. We don't manufacture tractors or combines, and I think that's where a lot of these people are going after. John Deere basically giving themselves the rights to fix equipment and making it very challenging for anybody independent or the farmer to make any fixes. I mean, you need to have unlock codes to be able to change things. Or let's say you blew a transmission on your tractor and you need to put a new transmission in, or an ECU, a controlling unit for something. Well, John Deere recognizes, like, their software will recognize that you've installed a new component and you need to buy an access code or bring it to a dealer to get it to actually function in your tractor.
Yeah.
It's not like the good old days where you could just slap a new transmission on and you're good to go.
Yeah.
It's like McDonald's with their ice cream machines.
Also, explain this.
Well, you know how they're always breaking down?
Yeah.
And then the people who own that specific McDonald's, they can't fix it themselves because you need to get a technician to come out.
Oh,
Yeah.
The same thing.
no.
John Deere, they were listening, or they were watching McDonald's.
Yeah. So, and I guess to the secondary to that question was, is farmer usability, or what's the word, convenience, something that plays into these designs usually, or not really sometimes? Like, is there like a line where it has to be efficient but still convenient?
Yeah, that's kind of the tough one. It's, you're trying to balance that with cost and everything too, and you want to make it as easy as possible on the farmer, but sometimes it's also hard to design that way too. And you got to make trade-offs when you're designing something. But I would say that things have become easier for sure. Maybe not on the troubleshooting side of things. I would say things have gotten more challenging.
Mhm.
Back in the day, if something broke on your drill, usually you could just see it. It's like, oh, I need to weld that, or I need to put a new bolt there or something. But nowadays, let's say something isn't communicating with your monitor in the tractor or the iPad or whatever you're using. Like, there are some farmers that, are know a thing or two about that kind of thing, but there are other farmers that are like, oh, what am I, you call a dealer to get them to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting topic to either read about or to talk to people, because like you need technology to keep on improving, but at the same time, when is too much technology, like what's the line type of thing?
Yeah,
It's
no, for sure. Like,
It's interesting.
yeah, I see both ends of it. Like, the troubleshooting side of things, like, I'm not a very electronic savvy guy myself. If I have problems, I generally call somebody else if it's electrical.
Yeah.
But it is cool technology on the other hand. Like, we talked about the depth control, being able to change it on the fly while you're in the cab of the tractor is pretty sweet. And another thing, so back home on the farm, they run an air drill too. Little older technology. It's got sensors for monitoring the level of the grain in the tanks on the cart, but it still doesn't tell you exactly how much is in there. So you're always playing a guessing game at whether your rates are accurate. You calibrate everything before you start, but doesn't mean it's 100% accurate, and you're usually playing a guessing game by the end, and you're either left with a bunch of extra seed or you're left with like an acre to go and you ran out of seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the new tanks, and most manufacturers are coming out with this now, but they're using scales or load cells on each one of the tanks to measure how much product exactly is in there, and it's making adjustments to the metering on the fly as it's monitoring how much weight is being metered out. And I haven't run one personally, but just talking to a lot of customers, farmers that have run them, they said, this is awesome. No more guessing game. I can be down to like half a 5-gallon pail left by the end of seeding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty sick. That's pretty slick too.
Mhm.
Now that I think about it, we probably should have asked this question at the beginning, but what's the process of taking something that's on a piece of paper to production?
Yeah.
Type of thing?
What are the main things you're
What's the
looking at?
Yeah, what's the main
up-
stages?
What's on the Mount Rushmore of designing and engineering?
All right. Yeah. So the problems brought to us, or an idea is brought to us, something along those lines. And often it'll start with a lot of brainstorming. How are we going to solve this problem, or how are we going to actually make this? Lots of people, farmers, like lots of farmers have great ideas, but how do you actually make it? That's the big question. And so there's a lot of work involved, and there's a lot of people that have been with companies like Bourgault. There's a lot of people who know a lot of things, how to build stuff, and you really rely on a lot of that expertise. So you've got the problem, you go to the drawing board, figure out how you're going to actually build this thing and make it work. It doesn't always work the first time. There are lots of fuck ups in between designing the very first prototype and coming out with the manufactured product. And just because you design something on a piece of paper doesn't mean it's going to work either, is the thing. Like, a lot of it is you're hypothesizing how things are going to work, and you get out to the field, it's like, oh shit, that didn't work at all like I thought it was going to. But yeah, so kind of after the brainstorming and the paper napkin sketches and stuff like that, we'll model things up. So engineers today have it much easier than engineers did like 30 years ago. So computer technology is phenomenal these days. 3D modeling software allows us to design everything. We can model up an entire drill, an entire air seeder, tank, you name it, and we can look at all the geometries, we can look at all the interferences, everything, and make everything fit together in the model. Now, there's a difference between it working out in the model and you actually building it and working out. When you weld things and manufacture things, they don't always end up being exactly the way you design them. So that's another problem, is kind of dealing with, okay, well, this is what the actual manufactured part is. Let's make that fit into this frame or whatever you're trying to design it to. So you've got all the 3D modeling, which allows you to visualize and model everything and figure out exactly the size of everything. And then there's also the software that you use for analyzing strength and weaknesses of parts, I guess. So We call it FEA, finite element analysis, and it's another software program. And you go through engineering, you learn about well, not even just engineering, but you learn about trigonometry and junior high and stuff in high school. You go through math, calculus, you learn all that stuff. A lot of it is real world applicable, and I still use a lot of that basic math. And then you go to university and you learn, like, I still can't remember half the stuff I learned in university. It's crazy. You cram, you learn about it all for the exam, and then you go drink and forget about it within
So you're a prime example of somebody who has like, those memes that go around where it's always like guys are like, well, it's been 10 years since I've been out of school and I still haven't used Pythagorean's theorem. You're like the complete opposite of that, right?
That's
Probably
right.
Still use it every day.
Well, that one particular example, there's a number of things I learned in university related to like finite element analysis and stuff like that I would have to go back and relearn.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's just like I say, the software just makes it too easy. You still have to understand what you're doing with it, but you don't have to know exactly what you don't know how to do all. You don't have to know how to do all the math anymore. The computer software does it for you.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then so it goes through all the computer stuff, and then do you actually build it after that then?
Yeah. So we'll model everything up. We'll go through the analysis just to make sure everything's strong enough, and we've got supports where we need supports, kind of thing. We'll build it, and then anything that we learn from building it, like I said, sometimes the manufactured parts don't turn out the way you designed them. Make adjustments there, and then when the first prototype is built, you'll either take it out to the field or you'll do some durability testing on it. So like an air cart, for instance, it's going to see lots of going up and down hills and stuff like that. So we try and recreate that before going to the field and try and get some durability testing on it. And what that'll bring up is if there's any weak points in the design of the frame or anything that might not have come up in the FEA analysis, we can reevaluate after doing stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of intensive testing after the fact, and we usually partner up with farmers to run these prototype units. Bourgault doesn't own hundreds of thousands of acres to test stuff on, but there's a lot of farmers out there that own a lot of land. So
then you go out there, test them in the field, and then you're popping champagne, right?
Oh yeah, that's exactly how it
works. Sweet. So like you only have like a month or two window to because if you're using farmers' land, you only have like a month or two window to test. So does that put a lot of pressure on these tests to like go well? Because then you got to wait 10 to 11 months to do it again, or?
That's exactly it. Yeah. So yeah, and that's Bourgault's main market is kind of the prairies, and then as well as into the northern states as well. And they do have dealers in like the Midwest and stuff, but it's mostly up here is where we sell. And so we want to test our machines where we're selling our products. So yeah, it's like you say, we've got that 1 or 2 month window every year to figure things out. Well, I shouldn't say figure, but test things, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got 10. It's like any like athlete, they got 10-month off season, then they got 2-month in season. So it's probably just like crazy during those 2 months, eh?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. You're trying to get as much information as you can out of it. You're trying. Yeah. If something goes wrong, you want to be able to try something new as well. And you can't just whip up a new drill in a snap of a finger, right? So you're often trying to come up with quick fixes and stuff. And it often ends up being that you get lucky and you find a fix if there's a problem, or you have to wait until the next year to try something new.
Oh shit, eh?
Yeah.
If you could talk about it, what was the most bush fix you've ever done with these? Like you said, there's a pressure, like you got to do it now. Was there ever like something came off, you just threw some baler twine on and
a couple rolls of duct tape
type of thing? Like,
well, I don't know about butch fixes, but there have definitely been times in the project where let's say you're working on the opener side of things and the seed isn't quite making it in the ground the way you want it to. So you want to try some different trajectories. You want to try some different boots per se. And, we will do just like you said, we'll duct tape the hose to different parts of the boot and try different things. Just try some quick things. And it's obviously something that you'd never go to production with, but it gets you the quick test in. And yeah, that's probably about as butch I'd say as we've got, is duct taping things together. Yep.
Nice.
Nice.
And I guess my my next question though is here. So I've seen throughout my couple years intensely being ag, past 4 or 5 years. I've seen a few farmers. They'll design their own machines. For example, there's a farmer out in Three Hills, Rumsey area. He made his own ditch like pull behind chopper. It's got the header, but then it extends in and out like this type of thing for the ditch.
Yeah.
Have you you're building these products for farmers? So do you ever have farmers come in and give their opinions through the whole process type of thing, or even you like go prospect what farmers have built themselves type of thing?
Yeah, I haven't been involved in any of those interactions myself, but it definitely does happen. Yep, you bet.
Awesome.
And it's not always that the farmer approaches Bourgault per se, or any other manufacturer. Sometimes the farmer might just talk to a friend or talk to a dealer or somebody they know, and they might be the ones to bring it forth and say, hey, Joe had an idea or whatever. And yeah, and there have been times too where we've been sent pictures from farmers like, hey, I tried this on your drill, it worked pretty good. And there have actually been times where as a matter of fact, I think so the way the distribution lines are routed on our drills now, so the hoses used to route over top of the frame members and stuff, and now they go through the frame members. And that was actually an idea from a farmer.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty sick.
cool. Yeah,
it's awesome.
Okay, so I have a big question here.
Okay.
So obviously when you're planning this stuff out, you're making sure it's structurally sound and all that kind of stuff. Do you also get to do like the designing side of things and see like what colors it's going to be and what the logo is going to look like on there? Because I got some ideas for you.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well,
what if we went with like leopard print?
Leopard print.
Yeah.
I'll send that one to our graphics design team.
Or like
and
maybe zebra print.
I think you partner with a beer brand. Okay, I know that Bush kind of already did this with John Deere, but you take you take the cart and you just make into a big beer can.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Same shape and everything, eh?
Yeah. Or
you don't get to pick the colors at all.
No, not really. Sometimes the graphics design or marketing team will come to us and say, hey, we're thinking of this. What do you guys think of this? But it's usually them that makes the call in the end.
Well, you got 2 suggestions. I'm gonna make a third. So you got leopard print.
Yep.
The cart is a big beer can. And finally, little pink flamingos. You can't go wrong with those.
Well, actually, I was going to ask you guys now. So Bourgault sells equipment in Australia as well. And,
okay.
And to identify, and I think they still do, but anyways, to identify their machines that are for Australia, they put a kangaroo on the
top. I was just gonna say it's probably a kangaroo that he's using.
Well, they don't put an animal on the North American, the Canadian, or the U.S. tanks. So if we were to put one, would it be a flamingo, or what would you think?
See, I think it has to be regional. It has to be regional because, of course, you got your southern Alberta and your southwest, maybe southeast Saskatchewan. It has to be pronghorn then, right?
Or wind blowing or something.
Yeah, basically, or groundhog. But then, up in the north, then you got to do like a moose or like a big whitetail, but it's like a 10-point whitetail type of thing. Like it's a big buck.
Yeah, do like a real tree edition of the Bourgault tank.
Yeah, exactly.
All camo.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually sick.
That would be so cool. Actually,
if this camo thing becomes a thing, I really hope they put our logo like on the back. Hicks from the Sticks. Design brought to you by Hicks from the Sticks. That'd be funny. Oh, all right. I got one more kind of technology-ish kind of question. So with most air drills, you have like a hoe style shank. However, I've also noticed some guys are going to more of like a disc. So I think like companies like New Holland, Deere has one as well. Like, does Bourgault offer that option? And is it becoming more popular, less popular, or is it depending on the region?
Yeah, they do offer a disc drill, and it's become more popular to Bourgault. I would say overall disc drills are becoming more popular. I don't know if they'll overcome hoe drills. I myself, before starting for Bourgault, was a huge disc drill fan. But I grew up on an irrigation farm where we did intensive tillage and you didn't have to worry about the residue or the straw. But that's kind of the Achilles heel of disc drills is hairpinning, they call it. So the disc will pin down the straw where it's cutting into the ground, and it'll then release the seed on top of the straw. So you don't get that even emergence or that good soil contact where you do with the hoe drill, because the hoe drill displaces all the soil and dirt away from it and leaves the seed in fresh dirt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a difference between the two.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything to, like, if we were to say brainstorm right now to fix that problem, is there like anything like a knife type of thing that's being created to get rid of that problem where the straw just gets pushed down and instead gets chopped, or not really?
Yeah, like disc drills, when the discs are brand new, they're relatively sharp. Like you might not cut yourself on it, but they'll cut through straw. But the thing is, soil's abrasive, especially you get rock or sand, and it doesn't take much to wear that edge off, and it doesn't cut through as well anymore. So, if you had, it almost have to be kind of like a hoe in front of it, I would think, to help just clear the straw in front of it to help out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. See, I was thinking just a big old knife, like a machete, stick it in the ground. But I guess it's the same thing.
I don't think that would work, Dad.
No, I don't think so either. All right, I got one more question. How many more questions you got?
Maybe one or two. We'll see.
Well, mine's kind of the closer, so why don't you say yours?
Okay. Is there anything that you can talk about that you guys got coming up the pipeline here?
That was my closer question.
Oh yeah, well, probably shouldn't discuss.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any tratters?
Any tratters? Did you say?
You have
No.
any Bourgault tratters?
No.
There's the age gap.
I was gonna ask if you could send me one, but I guess not.
He's talking about like the little model tractors.
Yeah, but
I got you now. Well, they do it.
Yeah, the air drill.
Yeah,
they do have the air drill. Yeah,
like the toy air drill.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet. That's awesome. All right. Well, since you took my last question, I think we can move on to the last couple ones here, eh, Mace?
Yep, I think so.
All right. Enough for the serious business. Some more funny stuff here.
Okay.
So we ask every single guest this question. Favorite beer?
Did Saskatchewan turn you into a Pilsner guy?
Well, so when I grew up, it was Kokanee because my dad drank Kokanee.
Yeah.
And then when I went to university, it was Pilsner because everybody here drinks Pilsner.
Yeah.
Unless you're from Abbey. You guys probably don't know where Abbey is, but southwest, I guess, they drink Bow.
I was just gonna ask that because I've some guys say that it's Bohemian, right? That's the full name.
Yeah.
They say that's like the best out there. Is that?
And there's other pockets, but like the vast majority is Pilsner for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of grew up on that in university, and then I kind of matured into craft beer after university, and now I'm a fan. There's a brewery in Saskatoon and one about an hour out of the city. So 9 Mile is the one in Saskatoon, and Nokomis is the brand of the town that's about an hour outside.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I think that's a Mueller.
He's a big hipster now.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that's a family thing because it seems like y'all just love your craft beers in your family. Even this guy too. He started drinking them like crazy in the past couple months.
I used to despise them, and I would like talk shit to my dad all the time about drinking these IPAs, but now it's like all I drink. So I'm a hypocrite. I know.
So do you like the darker stuff, like the darks and the reds, or do you like the lighter ale stuff?
I'm still more on the lighter ale end of things. I do drink, the odd amber or dark, but I'm more on the lighter side. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Same.
Awesome.
Samesies.
All right. Already.
Okay. So I don't know if you follow this at all. Do you follow NFL at all?
I don't.
You don't. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna give you the teams that are still left. Okay. And,
okay.
We need you to pick a Super Bowl winner.
Okay.
Everybody who's listening to this right now, the second that he gives his pick, go to the sports book or whatever, and
Yeah, pick the over
yeah,
under.
yeah. All right, so there's the Bengals, the Niners, the Eagles, and the Chiefs.
Eagles.
Who's winning the Super Bowl?
Eagles.
Eagles. Okay.
I mean, that's a fair pick.
They've had a really good season.
They've had a really good season. So that's a fair
Yeah.
pick. Fair pick.
So I don't watch the NFL, but I did read up a little bit on the season this year and past season too, because well, I'm sure everyone's talked about how the Jaguars beat the who did they crazy comeback.
Yeah, they beat the Chargers.
Chargers,
They
yeah.
the Chargers were up 23-0, and
Yeah.
they came back.
Wasn't it 27 at one point?
Maybe. Actually, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, something like that. It was. They
Yeah.
were they were shitting on the Panthers and the Jaguars, and they came back. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So you heard it here, folks. Eagles are winning the Super Bowl.
Take the over. It's probably gonna be an over.
Probably.
All right.
All right. You got any other random questions, Dad?
No, I'm out.
All right. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Brennan. This has been awesome, eh?
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for the invite.
We'll have to get you on again if you guys ever release anything new, and so we can get a quick update.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I'll only answer if it turns out.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. So it might be for a couple more years, eh?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man. Eh?
Okay. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
And-
take care.
And that was our interview with Brennan. Thank you.
Thank you, Brennan.
Thank you. And again, very interesting experience. Hope
That's
everyone
right.
enjoyed that.
Yep.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
I
That was
thought,
a sick-
and even like just asking him a few questions here and there about like, like how's the technology changed and stuff like that. Is it actually more efficient? Is it not? Is there like, especially the one question where I asked about like the convenience versus the the efficiency thing. Like where's that middle line? So I think he answered them all very good, and he did a good job. So good job, Brennan.
Good job, Brennan. Thank you.
All right, but we hop into everyone's favorite segment.
Yeah, this is Devin's favorite.
What's the segment, Mason?
It is the Western word of the week. Dictionary of the Old West.
Ooh.
By Raymond F. Adams. I don't know who that is, but he knows a lot of words apparently.
Apparently.
All right. Prairie feathers.
Prairie feathers.
What do you think prairie feathers means?
Like a fur bush or something? Is it like a bush? Is it a plant?
It's I mean, kind of technically a plant, but
Is it like
not really.
leaves?
Uh,
Am I anywhere close?
I mean, not really. Here, I'll give you a hint. It has to do with hay.
Was it straw?
Prairie feathers.
Oh, hay bales. Did they have hay bales back
I
then?
don't think you're gonna guess it. So, what prairie feathers are, or what the cowboy calls beds stuffed with hay.
Oh,
You get it?
I get it now.
Okay, yeah.
Gotcha.
I thought
So
that
they
was
had
cool.
their mattresses were hay back then?
I mean, I don't think they were. If you like actually
They had
lived
beds?
in a city and stuff.
I don't know. Like, do you think it was just out west? It was because I'm assuming they had bird feather. Like,
Oh
beds.
yeah, no, I think this is just pertaining to like rednecks.
Ah, gotcha.
You know,
Gotcha. All right. Do you got a second word for all the ladies and gentlemen out there?
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. This one, it's simple, but it could be so many different things that you're probably not gonna get it. Step across.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah. Okay. So it has to do with a horse.
Okay.
Step across.
Going across a creek or something?
No, it has to do. Okay, you know what? You're not gonna get it. It's slang for mounting a horse.
Mounting a horse.
You know,
I guess that
stepping
makes
across.
sense. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're like stepping
step across the
across.
saddle. Yeah,
Yeah, stepping across the horse's back.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty like it's self-explanatory, but like
it makes sense if you know what you're talking
yeah,
about. and it could be
yeah.
so many
But
different
are we
things.
talking? Do you know what we're talking about when it comes down to horses?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Professional.
You're a professional.
Yeah. I'm
Are
a
you on the cutting?
big time cowboy over here.
Yeah. Do you do reining, cutting, cow horse? What do you do?
Oh no, remember I train horses for war.
Right. You train horses for war. Forgot about that
And
episode.
also jousting. That's my thing.
Jousting.
Yeah, jousting.
Yeah. Pretty sure that was on an episode of ours, wasn't it?
No, I think that was us just being dumb.
Oh, I
at
think
the
that's
ranch.
yeah.
That was
fair
just a
enough.
drunk conversation.
Drunk conversation. Nice. Anyways,
I think they should bring horses back for war. For war purposes.
no.
Wars are getting like the military and just weaponry. It's getting too far advanced. We got to bring it back old school.
No. Much save horses' lives. Save a horse, ride a cowboy, baby.
Well, you know what? But unless you're using horses for like ranching purposes, they don't really serve a true
Okay,
good
we're
purpose
not
anymore.
getting
So-
into this stuff.
So
had-
bring the war horses back. That's what I'm saying.
now I remember this
give them
drunk conversation.
give them a job.
I remember this. drunk
Give them a
conversation
job.
now.
You think they want to just stick around and just jump and do little things all day? No. Give them a gun.
Oh, boy. Speaking of war animals, I think I saw somewhere that they're using rats nowadays.
Oh, as
They-
a part of
They do like
what's that
mines.
called?
They like look for mines and fields and stuff like that, like landmines.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they do land.
You know
They
what
have a really
they-
good sniffer on them.
Well, they should do what they should do is just like give a bunch of rats like the bubonic plague or like some sort of disease.
Biological warfare.
Yeah, and just let them run
See,
free.
I,
But then you get like another pandemic. That's the only problem.
yeah, like
You
it has
can't
to be
really
a
control it at that
self-contained,
point. Yeah.
self-contained one. Yeah, I don't know if that would quite work. I think yeah,
Yeah,
but anyways,
dude, biological warfare is so fucked up.
like I guess so. I
Like,
mean,
have you
any
have you
warfare is
seen?
kind of fucked
No,
up.
but like, have you seen like those movies and stuff as well, where that they deal with biological warfare?
No.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Can you name one of these movies?
Well, The Rock deals with it. They don't actually set any off. Have you ever seen The Rock?
No, I
Sean
have
Connery?
not. No, no,
It's a
no, I
classic.
haven't.
You should watch it.
All right.
Has Nicolas Cage in it too.
Oh, it's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. Anyways, all right. So this is a new little game that we're gonna do today. It's called. Well, actually, it's not new. Everyone kind of does that. This or that. All right.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Easy. We're gonna easy start. John Deere case.
Probably John Deere.
John Deere case.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You got a reason behind that?
I mean, we have John Deere at home, so
Gotcha.
you know,
Mhm.
I don't know. Neighbors never really had a case as well. They would. Well, they had a little bit of everything, to be honest.
They were for all the colors. as one
Well,
would
they're
say.
just Dutch.
They're cheap.
yeah, whatever was cheapest at the
Best
time.
deal of the time.
They got the whole spectrum. They got the whole rainbow.
they got the whole
It's a
rainbow.
farm.
All right, you got one now, Mace? This or
Um,
that. We didn't really prepare. We're
you,
just
you
kinda
didn't
on-
really, yeah, you didn't really give me.
I thought it'd be a good idea, but I guess maybe next time you'll be more prepared. But for now, you got one?
You do one, and I'm gonna keep thinking for a little.
All
bit
right,
here.
easy. This or that. Ready? Pizza or craft dinner? Because the other night we were prepping, like to go out drinking. Last night at Billy Bob's, which we haven't talked about yet. Last night at Billy Bob's. Shout out to Billy Bob's.
Yeah, shout out.
And my choice for pre-drinking supper was pizza, and yours was craft dinner. But you could easily had a pizza too.
We didn't have any free pizza left, Dad.
Okay, this whole argument just got shot.
Why do you think the reason I had craft dinner is because we didn't have any other food in the house?
So does that answer the question then?
I
Pizza.
would rather have pizza any day of the week, man.
Gotcha.
Pizza is like a top 3 food.
Yeah.
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 And I don't even think that's controversial.
That is true.
Top 3.
I think it's so convenient,
It's so diverse as well.
diverse.
Yeah.
There is a certain palette to it. Like you can't go off the palette, but there's a lot of variations within the palette. you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you have to have your main components: the sauce, the toppings, and then the cheese.
And you can make it healthy as well. People say pizza is unhealthy. You can make it healthy,
make it healthy.
right?
Yeah. It's homemade then.
So many different options. You got thin crust, you go deep dish, you
Mhm.
know, you got Chicago style.
Mm-hmm.
Every single like small town or like big city have their own style.
Mhm.
Just pizza is pizza, man. Pizza is him.
pizza is him.
Pizza's got that dog in him.
All right. So I got another one right off the bat. All right, ready?
Okay.
It's another. We're gonna go back to egg, I guess, themed. dairy cows or beef cows? Because you've seen now beef cows for a bit, hanging out at the ranch and stuff like that. I know you're more familiar with the black and whites, but
Mhm.
dairy cows or beef cows?
Um,
When sorting?
when sorting,
Yes.
um, I mean, we are the dairies that we dealt with were pretty good, so I'd go say dairy for that one.
Dairy's
Well,
definitely
the thing
easier.
with dairy is you don't even have to do the sorting yourself. You just run through the parlor and just let them
Yeah.
sort themselves
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
fair
not a lot of
enough.
manpower being involved
Yeah.
there. You just go to the computer and punch their numbers.
You were at that bougie dairy with the gate.
Yeah, with the automatic gate with the
Yeah,
sensor.
lucky.
Yeah,
Lucky.
yeah.
Mine
It was quite nice.
My uncle's place when I worked out there it was on an automatic gate, but it was like a remote, like hydraulic gate. So it's a
Yeah.
switch. And then Cornell's was, oh, there's that cow. Let all the cows out, sneak yourself in between, open
Yeah.
up the gate, then get behind the cow but also get in front of the cow behind her. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
You had
shit show.
you had some moves like Jigga. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Jagger.
you gotta have a little wiggle to you.
Yeah. So, anyways, you got any this or that's? Not really.
I mean, I'm trying to think, but
This or that. All right. Ready? I'm just gonna go off
okay,
here.
yeah, just go
I'm just
up.
gonna go off for the rest of the segment. All right. This or that.
Oh, here, this or that. Coniferous or deciduous trees? It's a tough one.
That one's tough. Because they all have their rules, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So deciduous ones are the ones with leaves, right?
Deciduous is okay. The way I always remembered it was deciduous die in the winter, but they don't actually die. They just lose their leaves.
See, I kind of want to go with the basic white girl like reasoning and go with the deciduous just because they change colors in the fall.
Ooh, that is nice.
And you can me being the guy that's starting against the whole media, videography, photography. Oh boy. Photography aspect, like fall time. It's great.
See, the
video
problem with
editing.
that though, living in Canada, is you only get to enjoy those trees for
like a week.
a very limited amount
Like a
of
week.
time.
This
Well,
year,
those-
this year was literally like a week.
For fall?
Yeah.
No, our fall was last year. Our fall was only like a week, but
This year was only a week. I thought we
No.
got slammed.
I thought this year. No, this year we actually got the colors for a decent amount of time. But
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like winter came pretty fast, but that was just me.
but if you go with coniferous, then you know, it's like the old
They have good smells.
fundamentals,
They have
right?
there's good smelling trees.
Good
too.
smell. Yeah.
I would just go with deciduous just because changing leaf colors.
Okay.
And also in the springtime too, some of them will bud flowers and it's just like start spring, planting season's coming, you know.
Yeah, they got a little more
summer's coming.
They got a little more character to them.
Character where, you know, they smell like the coniferous ones. They smell good, but it's just like
Okay, what's your top
they're
tree?
the same top tree. You know what? I like paper birch because you can just rip the bark off.
Yeah, those ones are fun. I like
Yeah.
paper birch too.
Yeah.
Those ones down in California though, what are those red
The redwood ones where they literally drilled there's like a road that was going through the park and they put a tunnel right through it.
Because they get up to like 150 feet high.
And they're like super old, so they're super thick too.
Yeah, those are pretty
it's
dope.
pretty
I don't know if those are my favorite, but they're pretty dope.
They're just cool trees. Cool trees.
Yeah.
What do you think of like those mini trees?
What do you mean?
Like the mini trees, like those mini Japanese trees things.
Oh, the bonsai trees or
Yeah.
whatever. The ones that like grow in rocks.
Yeah. Those real? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
they're real.
I'm pretty sure they're real. Yeah.
I think those are.
I can only imagine their root system, man.
Well, like, I just like, how do you even like? I don't know.
There's like no soil there.
It just makes no sense. You know?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Just defying all.
But apparently,
odds.
like, I did watch a small segment of a video on this at one point, and like, there's like an art to it.
The bonsai trees.
Yeah, there's like an art to like growing the tree in a sense where it makes a certain shape.
Oh, like the manipulating. I mean, you could do that with any tree. Yeah, you could do that with any like vegetable as well.
Yeah, like you could. I saw square watermelon one
time.
So
yeah,
like you could do that. Like it will work. So and it's like how to some of the thing. I've watched a few videos on like some of the citrus production and stuff like that. It's actually like an orange tree isn't actually, or like an almond tree isn't actually an almond tree. It's a almond. It's like some good sturdy tree, and then they take the almond stem or whatever, and they stick it together.
They just tap it in there.
No, like they like stick it together with like tape or something.
What?
We gotta get an almond farmer or like a citrus
Like you
farmer
mean
on.
like a little piece of an almond branch or whatever?
Yeah, and then they stick it
What?
to another one.
Like into just a regular tree.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just because then it'll grow faster.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for like the seed to like grow up. And,
Yeah.
like, take years and
well,
years
and it has
years.
sturdier roots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they do that with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we should get the almond farmer, citrus farmer. Hit us up.
Hit us up.
Yeah, but
This or
you know,
that.
this or that. I say that's good enough.
This or that. Almonds
Oh.
or
Cashews.
no.
Those
Wow,
are two.
ooh,
Those are
that's
the two
good.
best nuts, hands down.
What about the
Other than peanut butter.
what about
peanuts.
pistachios?
See, pistachios take work, man. You gotta undo.
But see, that's the thing about it. You have to earn that reward.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can't. This
And
I guess-
also when you're like cracking them open, it's pretty satisfying.
no, I'm a huge cashew.
It's just like peanuts. You got to work for that nut.
And that was the episode, folks.
Devin's like a peanut.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right.
Okay, well then what's better? Like, if you got out of the ones you got to work for, peanut or pistachio?
Peanut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you get two in there.
I get that ball game aesthetic too.
What?
That baseball game aesthetic. You know, you go to the baseball games, you get a bag of peanuts,
And a hot dog.
a hot dog, and you
And
enjoy
a pack
yourself.
of cigarettes.
And a shitload of beer.
Yeah, and a bunch of chew.
No,
Do
but
baseball players still chew?
I don't think so. Maybe
They
Yes.
should.
Bubble gum?
That should be required.
No, I don't think so. They're athletes.
See, but you always talk about how baseball is such a traditional game, and they don't go away from their roots because there's so much tradition there. I'd say one of their traditions was all the players used to chew. That was a pretty big part of the game.
Yeah, but you know, times have changed.
So they should also still be using steroids. Make it more fun to watch.
Yeah, more home runs, maybe.
Right? More
Yeah.
dingers.
More happy kids in the stands.
Yep.
Unless, you know, someone pulls a Peter Griffin and steals the ball. Have you
Yeah.
seen that scene before?
Dude, I've seen that in real life. Dude, you see clips of people doing that all the time.
Yeah. When like A-Rod, whatever, get like a home run or something like that, or Derek Jeter. Yeah. The greats.
The greats.
Actually,
Are those the only two baseball guys you know?
off the top of my head.
Name another baseball player. Doug.
Jose Batista, Edwin Encarnacion. See, I only really know Yankees and Blue Jays.
Dude, I don't know like any baseball players.
Um,
Babe Ruth.
Who
Honus Wagner.
the hell is that guy?
He's an old guy.
Oh. You only like
He's
old
got
guys,
like
eh?
the highest selling like sports card
Oh,
of all
really?
time. Yeah. It has
Really?
like a card that sold for like 5 million or something like
Holy
that.
shit.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money for a piece
Yeah.
of paper.
Right?
Damn.
Yeah.
I wish we could sell paper like that. Just some loose leaf.
Yeah.
Sell some loose leaf for loose leaf
Luffy.
for like 10
What-
mil.
Who's another baseball player I know? Well, Aaron Judge.
True.
Yeah.
The judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The judge. Is that what you called it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
I
Well,
think that's it. That was this or that. That might actually come back because I actually didn't turn around too bad. So
yeah.
we'll see. But anyways, thanks again for listening to the X from the Sticks podcast. Be sure to tell a friend
Tell that friend to tell a friend.
and tune in to all of our socials, including Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter, as well as to look at our YouTube channel.
Yeah. We would have just released because this is coming out on Sunday.
Sunday.
We will have just released a YouTube video from when we were at Jace's at JWT Hats. So make sure to check that out. Also, we have the other one from when we were at what was the name of that? What was the name of their farm again in Wainwright?
Eastern View Dairy or Eastern View Farms.
Eastern View Farm. So if you haven't watched that already, go check that out. It's a really cool video.
Mhm.
So check those out. Stay tuned for more stuff on our social medias. Give us follows and got anything to add, Dev?
Have a good day.
All right. See ya.